All right, welcome back, everyone. Apple's push into AI may be facing significant obstacles in its second largest market. According to the New York Times, the White House is scrutinizing Apple's potential partnership with Alibaba to integrate its AI technology into iPhones sold in China. Officials are reportedly concerned that such a partnership could accelerate Alibaba's AI capabilities and deepen Apple's entanglement with China's strict censorship policies and data sharing regulations. Roughly 20% of Apple's global revenue comes from China. While Apple's stock is down this morning, it's worth noting that most major tech stocks are also trading lower amid rising treasury yields. Host. Joining us now is someone who quite literally wrote the book on Apple in China. Patrick McGee, author of the aptly titled Apple in China, Capturing the World's Greatest Company, is with us. Good morning, Patrick. Patrick McGee. Good morning. Thank you for having me. Host. It's a fascinating book. I don't want to oversimplify your thesis, but it seems like you're arguing that Apple is, perhaps unintentionally, a key reason for China's rise as a global tech superpower. Is that fair? Patrick. Yes, I'd say that's accurate. Apple, somewhat unknowingly, became the biggest backer of China's Made in China 2025 initiative. President Xi Jinping's ambitious strategy to make China self-sufficient in robotics, automation, and advanced electronics. By around 2015 or 2016, Apple realized that its investments in China, which surpassed even the inflation-adjusted scale of the Marshall Plan, were actually helping China build its tech dominance. I'm referring to their investments in third-party factories, not Apple-owned ones. Host. You're saying Apple spends more than the Marshall Plan every year in China? Patrick. Yes. About $55 billion annually, all going into facilities they don't even own. This includes wages, training, and billions in machinery placed in other companies' factories. Apple produces over 230 million iPhones annually. But after production, that equipment and those skills don't just vanish. They're used to build devices for brands like Huawei, Oppo, Vivo, and Xiaomi. As a result, Chinese smartphone brands now command 55% of the global market, powered in part by the very ecosystem Apple helped build. Host. Let's go back. When did Tim Cook really lean into China? Patrick. The consolidation happened around 2003, initially to produce iPods more efficiently and affordably. Host. Do you think there was ever a meaningful opportunity for Apple to shift away from China? Patrick. Yes. Around 2012 or 2013. What they're trying in India now is what they should have been doing over a decade ago. Some insiders, like Tony Fadell in 2008 or John Ford in 2011, raised concerns that Apple was becoming too dependent on China. Instead, Apple doubled and tripled down. They launched massive share buyback programs, more than $100 billion annually, instead of investing in supply chain diversification. Had they diverted even half of that toward building resilience, they'd be in a much stronger position today. Host. But is it now politically impossible for Apple to exit China? Patrick. Essentially, yes. Apple generates $70 billion in revenue in China. Only a handful of non-Chinese companies even break $10 billion there. Apple doesn't just top the list, it outperforms entire sectors. But ironically, its market share in China has been sliding over the past 2 years, largely because the domestic competitors they helped train are catching up fast. Host. If Apple were to do the same in India, ramp up manufacturing and training, what's to stop Indian companies from eventually outcompeting Apple, just like in China? Patrick. That's a real risk, but one I think we have to accept. India is an important strategic ally. If Apple's investments can be used as leverage in negotiations, all the better. Of course, if India drifts toward authoritarianism under Modi, that's another story. Host: So why is Donald Trump wrong when he says we should just build iPhones in the US? Patrick: Because it's just not feasible. Not at the scale or speed required. China has a massive, mobile workforce. Over 200 to 300 million people who can relocate seasonally for factory work. The US simply doesn't have that labor flexibility or density. Think of it like this. Imagine the entire city of Boston giving up their jobs to assemble iPhones and then relocating again seasonally. That's the level of workforce coordination China has. And the US doesn't. Host: We're almost out of time, but if you could wave a magic wand, what should Apple or the US be doing now?